Today we're speaking with curator Blanca de la Torre, as well as artist CJ Chueca, whose current exhibition, Mermaids in the Basement, is at the Sugar Hill Children's Museum of Art and Storytelling. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Beez and Honey podcast. Today I'm speaking with Blanca de la Torres, curator, and with artist Cecilia or CJ Chueca. Cecilia, do you want to start the discussion by telling us about your name? I know people often ask you how they should address you.
Well, my full name is Cecilia Jurado Chueca. And then I shortened it for CJ Chueca because I was raised mostly by my mom, and Chueca is the last name of my mom. So I wanted to be more like closer into my even identity to hers.
Ah, okay. So for this purpose, we'll call you CJ for now to make it easy.
Great.
And Blanca, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you met CJ and how you conceptualized the current exhibition at the Sugar Hill Museum, Children's Museum of Art and Storytelling?
Mm-hmm. Well, CJ and I met her when she was Cecilia at that time, not CJ. We met so many years ago. I don't even remember when was that. And then I think soon afterwards, or a couple of years after we met, she opened up this gallery as part of her artistic project as well. So she opened a Y gallery, and then I don't know, we used to like hang out a lot, work a lot, go to openings together, and we were sharing lots of interests since the beginning. So, and we've worked together in the past as well. So now when she had this opportunity of not only doing the exhibition but also the residency at the Sugar Hill Museum, she just thought I was like the right person to curate that exhibition. And then also because it connected very much with another project that we did together in Honduras at the CCE in Tegucigalpa, under the title Sinking. How was let me translate that in English. It was the sound of the sinking voices, and this was in or it was related to this small village in the south of Honduras, in Cedeño, that it's been totally devoured by the sea, and the ocean is actually expanding 1.22 meters per year inland. Mm-hmm. So Cecilia developed a specific project for that. And then we could say that that was probably the first or one of the first work related to all these areas that then we expanded it together conceptually and spatially as well, but especially with like a lot of like conversations and exchange about water, women, climate change, and all those intersections
of topics. And CJ, how was your, you said it was a residency that CJ had at the Sugar Hill Children's Museum. How was that for you? How long were you in residency, and did the work in the exhibition come out of the residency?
Yes, I'm still in residency until the end of the year, so it's a long residency. So yes, all the work, the people in the museum, I started in late November last year or December last year, and they were very supportive. I mean, like the then curator Damian Davis, and then the director, the both directors, everybody was like, do whatever you want. So I started to be more involved with the water, but in a contained a contained space, in a more urban space. So that's how, from working before with rivers, oceans, and and the impact with people, I started to work inside of the urban landscape, let's say.
And the title of the exhibition, it came from a Dickinson poem. Who was the poet again? I read it, but I forgot now. Emily Dickinson, I think.
Emily Dickinson.
And
Yeah.
how did you guys conceptualize that? Was it your idea, Blanca, or?
Well, but originally, actually, it started with this idea of the mermaid as a half bird, half women creature, mythological creature, because like many people still think that those original mermaids were the fishtail ones, which are the ones that are more common in all the, let's say, popular imaginary. But I am very influenced by the ancient classics, especially Greece, and so it came to my mind this originally half-bird women from the Odyssey, from Homer's Odyssey. That's where it appears for the first time, and I like that idea of how Ulysses, on his return home after the Trojan War, is the one who manages to avoid the attraction of those songs by, forcing himself to be tied to the mast of his ship, and also his crew. His crew were had the ears plagued with wax. So I really liked that idea of that creature, and I like that mixed with the fishtail one also, that also relates with the water. So I thought the half-bird mermaid related very much with all this like sound installation that we have, but also the fishtail one relates to the all this imaginary that we've created, or that CJ has created, with the water and the pool and all those imaginaries related also to water and loss and dispossession. So it started with that, but then thinking of the idea of mermaids, I reread this poem by Emily Dickinson, where in one of the sentences she was saying mermaids in the basement. And then Cecilia and I were like speaking all the time about all these ideas, and then when I told her about mermaids in the basement, we really liked the idea. Also, we were even joking that saying that it sounds like a punk rock band or something like that. Like it's really sounds like a female, or like a really like feminist punk rock band or something like that. So we really liked also like the tone of it, and also we liked how it also suggests that displacement from a natural place to a urban environment. That was like one of the keys was also in CJ's work too. So from that, then we decided to title the rest of the works of the exhibition under different poems as well related to water. So everything was kind of like in a very organic way, coming up together.
That sounds really cool. I love that process, and I love how you guys mixed all the different mediums of art into the exhibition. So CJ, tell us a little bit about your working process. Like, how did you come up with the whole, did you start first with drawings? How do you work? Like, the sculptures of the slippers as well. How did the process work? How do you first start and get to the end?
Well, usually like I start at 3 a.m. or like 2 a.m. I have insomnia. So like when everybody's sleeping, I can wake up and at night, and then I'm like, okay, what? I remember like imagining this space that was all painted around with tiles, because so in this case, in specific, I started first. I say to myself, I don't want to go straight to this space. I imagine this pool, but not really with water, but like a representation of water, through the walls, which is kind of strange to represent water through walls, So I go to swim like twice a week, most of the times. We met once in the pool. When I go by myself, I swim like a lap swimming, which is kind of relaxing. So I started to do that, and then I will go to, well, I swim since a long time, but I was much more like militant on that. And I went to the studio and I started to paint, to draw with watercolor, the remembering of that state inside the pool, you know, as a space for thoughts, you know, and that at the same time I was talking with women, as at the same time Blanca did too, that will sing for us for the show. And all these stories also like kind of make the work much more profound, because they were real women that were they exit their hometowns, they left, you know, and they had a new beginning. And some of the stories are stories that are happy stories, you know, they left and they found a new home where they feel very comfortable. And some of them are not, you know, like there is one woman that she's still in a shelter here, for example, you know. So that was the process, like to have like the real experience from one side, and on the other side I was drawing, you know, every day, you know, from this experience of submerging and watching, you know, and cleaning, you know.
Mm-hmm. And the slippers, can you tell me how that worked? Because it was interesting too, when I saw the slippers, it reminded me of, for example, Cinderella.
Yes, I mean, on the past, actually, like one of my first shows in New York, I did a show where like in the middle of the show, there were like, I don't know, like 50 shoes. You remember that one, Blanca? 50 shoes on the floor that were from men. So they were the Cinderellas that they were part of a book I published. So for Madame Frankenstein. But in this case, I've been working with shoes also. Like I never, like these shoes never are with people, you know, they're always by themselves, like kind of lost, you know, or they are giving you the idea of a presence or like an absence, no? So before I did also these shoes that are inside of plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like how homeless have a lot of their belongings in plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
So I will make ceramic pieces of these shoes inside of the plastic bags, and they will be in a corner, you know, like. So in this case, I wanted to do the slippers because the first thing, my experience of like every time I leave, I go into the pool, I leave my slippers. But I was thinking also all these people that, you know, like cross a river, you know, in the border of Mexico and the US, or like the people that just get into the water from, you know, like Syria or whatever, you know, like there are like all these references with just the idea of just jump into, in this case, the pool, no, but any place, you know, it's more a metaphor actually.
Right, yeah. And there's all these feet moving around the planet, like you talked about these displaced bodies. And then what about the other artists who are in the exhibition? Like, how were they chosen to complement Cecilia, the artist in residence?
Okay.
Yeah, Cecilia will explain you, because those are like two different things, and I had really nothing to do with that part, and I'm only in charge of Cecilia's.
Okay. I didn't understand that, to be honest. But Cecilia, yeah, tell me about those other guys who were around you, because I didn't really understand that it's you two worked specifically on her stuff, not the rest of the work.
Because they are two different shows. They are not. It's not that Cecilia's installation or Cecilia's exhibition, because it's not just an installation. They're different works, but it's not that belongs to, or that is like part of the other exhibition. They are just two separate, let's say, exhibitions in the same floor.
All right. Well, then let's get back to the Cecilia's work, because I had in my mind those other guys were somehow talking to your work, but it was really just a coincidence that they were somehow looking related, whether through the lines, because some of the other artists had like these lines which reminded of the tiles in the pool room and stuff like that. But how did you come up with this idea? You know, when you walk into the main installation room, you feel almost like you're submerged in the pool. Like the room is like even a little bit underwater.
Well, yes, I mean, just to the other room, it's a completely different exhibition, but it is related just because they asked me to co-curate a show with Omar Lopez Shahaud that was in synchrony with my show. So that's why, and it's called Mental Spaces. So it comes from a source like of like talking from abstraction or talking from elements where like the figure is not present. So that's why you can see the relation between the two shows. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yes, when you enter into the space, I wanted to do this sensation that you are entering into a pool, but while you walk, it becomes from kind of full to empty, you know, and yeah, I was in the studio for hours and hours and hours making every tile, every drawing of every line there, and it was an obsessive work that at the end you see it and it's very simple, but it took a lot of time.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you're not working with any assistants or anything like that?
I did had 2 assistants for the lines, because the lines were like, I don't know how many hours we have been there. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows, thousands of hours. I mean, it's just ridiculous, because we not just did the lines, but we first wet the canvas for the lines, so they can have the sensation that the water, they were wet, you know, because otherwise they will be very sharp, you know.
That's true. Yeah. So Blanca, for the next thing that you work on, are you guys going to continue this collaboration, or do you see different paths? I'll let Blanca go first, and then CJ, you can tell me what comes after.
No, definitely. Actually, we've been thinking about it all the time as like a kind of like ongoing research and investigation and installation. The idea is to, you know, grow with it, not only including like more women singing from other countries, because we are very interested in finding other women who can tell like different stories also, in order to add more layers to those like ideas of dispossession, but also to explore like more layers related to that. I mean, we would really like to expand that. I would love to bring the work to either other places, or maybe to include it at some point in other group shows that I also have, because the good thing about that work is that it can be a solo show, like in this case, but it can also function as as part of a big group show, and also like relate with other works related to water, which is like a topic that I research like very much, especially because my main focus of research is that intersection on arts and ecology, and also because I think it's a kind of work that it can be expanded more in relationship with hydrofeminisms. I don't know if you know about this concept. It's kind of like in a similar way to how ecofeminisms reveal the interconnections that underlie within the relations of domination and exploitation over women and over nature. Hydrofeminisms help to explore the power structures that operate in the specific relationships that women have with the water. And I think this is a very very interesting case on that, and I think it could be expanded forever. I mean, it could be to me it could be like a permanent ongoing work. Absolutely.
It's interesting, especially now. I mean, to go outside of the art world, but for me, art is always somehow spirituality related, and there's so much emphasis in the spiritual world on water goddesses. So in some way, when you're doing this work, you're doing some spiritual work here. And we look at places like Maui, what's happening in Maui, and you think about how water has been appropriated there. And
I think she was able. I really think that she also was like very, very good at being very poetic in how to explore also like the systems of oppression or the idea of environmental justice related to all those poetics of water, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. And CJ, tell me, what is your next plans for this whole iteration of the exhibition? Like after the residency is done, what are you going to be working on, CJ?
So we are going to have another soon with Blanca. We have another interaction with this project. So we are going to, instead of expand it, to minimize it, which is interesting too, how to find like how you talk about something in a completely different setup, no? And so that's on September, no, Blanca? So, and yes, I have a couple of shows coming that are going to be in the West Coast one in San Francisco, and then one here next year too, and both of them are next year, and one in Buenos Aires. So I need to work, but I'm going to work on related to this because I realize also something that sometimes when you continue like with the research and also physically, like for me, for example, doing the sandals, like the flip-flops, and to work with the clay, the manual part of it brings you to something else, like also in terms of materiality, So I want to continue and see which other like informality in a way of talking formally starts to grow the work,
Okay, that sounds interesting enough. So you'll be traveling a lot, CJ, and then Blanca, do you have plans for New York anytime soon, like a project here? Or I know you're spending a lot of time in the Latin American world, but what's your next stuff or where is it gonna be?
Well, actually, next Sunday, I'm going to Finland for a month, and I cannot say specifically what I'm going to do there because it will be announced in the upcoming 2 weeks. But
Okay.
I will just say that for the next 2 years, I'm going to spend quite a lot in Finland, in Helsinki.
Okay, that sounds like
one of the things.
Yeah, that's like a
That's
good
great. That's great.
All right. I don't know. Is there anything I didn't ask that you want to add?
I don't know. Maybe just the importance to work on the climate crisis and on the ecological emergency through the arts and culture, because we definitely need more. We need to create new narratives, to form also like a new paradigm, and also to build new spaces or territories for the commons. In order to, to build a more habitable world.
Yeah, that idea of the commons, which I think northern countries like Norway, they understand this being somehow very ancient cultures. In some place like America, we still are so individualistic. The idea of the commons, like, common what? Everybody wants to own something and it's theirs, it's theirs, it's theirs. But yeah, we can't own water, we can't own air, we can't, yeah.
Exactly.
Even
Yes.
land, even land right now, everyone's talking about land as such a great investment during the financial crisis. But it's like, seriously, the idea of owning land is also very, yeah. Anyways, thank you, ladies.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
It
It
was a
was very
pleasure.
nice to talk with you too.
Yeah,
It
it's
was a
really great to
pleasure.
talk to you. Yeah, we can stay on after I stop recording. Okay. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.